What's up world, it's Bennett with MobileSyrup. Today I've got my hands on the new iPad mini and we're gonna see where it fits into Apple's product lineup, why it exists, and why I love it so damn much. Throughout all of that, we're gonna shoot some of it on my Fuji, some of it on an iPhone, some of it on the new iPad mini. I'm gonna try and edit them all on the iPad mini if that's even possible. And at the end of the day, we're gonna just see where it stacks up and if it's worth your time and, you know, can it be my mobile A-roll video getting setup? Can it fit in this bag? It can, it's in here right now, it's pretty small. But can whatever fits in this bag be my A-roll setup? We're gonna see. The new iPad mini is Apple's 6th generation of its small form factor tablet, but it's the biggest refresh it's ever received. Well, it looks kind of like a shrunken down iPad Pro, especially the space gray model that I have. It's easier to think of it just as a shrunken down iPad Air, considering it has a lot of the same specs and limitations as the Air. Limitations compared to the Pro, not compared to the regular iPad. The biggest changes for me definitely are going to be the magnetized Apple Pencil 2, just way better than the old one that used to stick in the bottom. And the fact that the bottom port now is USB-C and not Lightning. It just means I can use all my USB-C accessories on the go, and that's a huge plus for me. Okay, next I thought we'd just talk about what I really do like doing a lot on the iPad mini 2, this new iPad mini. iPad mini redesign, Redux iPad mini. The miniest iPad, tiny pad, little pad. First, I thought we'd start with what I like to do on the iPad mini, which is basically Photoshop. I think that's where I found the most enjoyment, is just being able to mask items out, paint them back in, or paint them out with the Apple Pencil on really minuscule scale, just one hand pinching and zooming, the other half painting, and it's just like a really satisfying Photoshop workflow. Yes, you can do that on other iPads. One hand like a little sketch artist on the couch. iPad mini excels on that. Oh, also on top of that, I just like that the pencil magnetizes to the side. I know that was on the iPad Air and the iPad Pro already, but if you're coming from a regular iPad to the new iPad mini, it's a huge plus, and it just makes using the iPad a lot easier. Although Samsung's been doing this with some of its budget tablets by magnetizing its styluses, which it does include in the box, the iPad mini doesn't to the back, and it's a huge plus whenever you can just kind of always have the stylus attached with you. I'll also mention here in kind of the pros section of the video that the battery life on the iPad mini is kind of astounding. I think the very first day I had mine, I got 11 hours of screen on time before it finally died over the course of 2 days. Since then, it's been pretty consistent around 9 to 10 hours, depending on how heavy I use it, but it's safe to say I'm blown away by this tiny iPad. Of course, the iPad mini is a great media consumption device. If you have a case, which I would recommend, because since the bezels are so small, a case kind of adds a little bit extra purchase just to hold on to it. But if you have a case and you can prop it up, it's a great device for just watching YouTube while you're washing dishes, you know, YouTube in bed, YouTube on your desk while you're supposed to be working, YouTube on the go. Pretty much anywhere you'd want to be watching YouTube, you can do it on the Apple Mini, iPad Mini, and I guess, you know, obviously you can watch any other content, but yeah, it's a great media consumption device. There's speakers on both sides, so you get stereo. Your hands do block them a bit depending on how you hold it, but it sounds pretty great for a speaker this size nonetheless. Also, much like the iPad Pro that this resembles, but not like the iPad Air, this iPad mini and the new base level iPad that came out this year can also both do center stage, which is Apple's new sort of FaceTime or video calling feature that allows the 12 megapixel camera on the front facing side of the iPad to follow you as you move. If you've used any of Facebook's smart displays in the past, you're likely used to this already, but it's actually a pretty great feature, and it makes you feel kind of like you're in your own TV show whenever you're on FaceTime, which is pretty fun. It's, you know, not a game-changing feature. It's not a reason to go out and buy this iPad, but it is fun, and I'm glad Apple brought it over to more of the iPads. The last two things that I think are just great on the iPad mini is a iPad level multitasking on such a small screen. Being able to sort of have two apps side by side, another one tucked to the corner and a few more down in the dock to switch to really quickly means productivity is like 4 times as good on the iPad as it is on the iPhone, which really makes or breaks if you want to have the iPad mini with you, which I guess is kind of the main selling feature. Sure, you have your phone with you, but can it do everything you want? Can I Photoshop on my phone? Not effectively. Do I want this iPad mini in my bag at all times so I can do that on the go? Yes, please. I guess like the final thing worth mentioning is this iPad mini has a 5G connection. I've never had an iPad with a connection before in any sense, you know, LTE, 3G, other than my grandparents back in the day, but I've never owned one personally, and it's kind of great. Even as I'm out here filming this, if does the iPad Air have center stage? I forgot to look that up. I can just pull it up on the iPad without having to worry about connecting to a hotspot or anything, and This is kind of a weird pitch because I don't really expect most people to pay monthly for a connectivity package because you can hotspot to your phone. It's, you know, just a few extra steps. That's what I've been doing my entire life. But it's convenient. I kind of like it. I like the idea that I could just like leave home without my phone. Not that I ever would. I don't know what I'm saying. But I could leave home without my phone and just have the iPad if I wanted to go on like a little photo walk or something. And I don't know, there's something kind of serene about that. Something kind of zen that's, you know, distancing yourself from your phone, which is always a little moment that I'm looking for in 2021 for sure. All right, I guess what I should mention are the things that I didn't really like that much on the iPad mini. And there's only a few, so this won't take too long. Basically, the first thing is that typing on the iPad mini isn't really perfect. You can do it. You know, if you're holding it in portrait mode, typing into 2 thumbs, it's all right. Switching over to landscape, you're still kind of locked into that 2 thumb mode that you'd use if you were holding your phone in landscape, but it's a little wide to reach the center of the keyboard. You can split it, but realistically, it's not the perfect typing experience. Even if you have the case and you've kind of got it angled up like a keyboard on a table and you're just typing on the screen, it's still pretty cramped. It can be done, and I wrote a little bit of this script on it, but I didn't like it. The one thing I will talk about is that, like, when I first got it, there was a bit of LCD distortion when I would grab it and I would squeeze too hard on the side of the screen. I think as I've gotten more used to the iPad, I've gotten more used to being more gentle with it. But coming from other iPads, I was, I guess, expecting it to be a little more rigid. So having it, you know, give this little LCD ripple that was barely noticeable, but it still was there for, you know, an expensive Apple device was a little disconcerting, or a little concerning. I was concerned. I don't know how you feel. Anyway, the other thing that kind of annoyed me was just the button placement. I usually hold it in landscape, so I've got the power button up here, which is fine. I can get that open pretty quickly, although Face ID would have been a huge, you know, plus for this. But the volume buttons then are down in the bottom corner here. So I don't know why Apple decided to put them there. I guess it's because the magnetized pencil is supposed to take up the entire top and the speakers are on the other side. But it's a little annoying. I mean, you get used to it, it's fine. It's just a volume button placement. I mean, how often do you really hit it? But like, I just felt like I was doing some finger gymnastics to hit it every time, and I don't know. I had to say a con about something. It's the volume button placement, Apple. Please make that a little better. All right, at the end of the day, I still love the iPad mini. I think it's a great little iPad, and the addition of USB-C and the Apple Pencil 2 that magnetizes to the side is sick. What is it good for? I think photography as a little picture taker sidekick, it's great. You can take your files off your camera, review them, edit them really quickly on the iPad, share them, you know, push them around the internet, wherever they need to go. Really seamless and really convenient because of the small portable size. As a video companion, it's not necessarily as great. I mean, you can review your footage on here. That's what I did a lot today, and it was really helpful actually because I had one shot that was really out of focus, and I don't know if I would have noticed had I not reviewed it on the iPad. That being said, I used to review on like a laptop or something, or a phone, whatever I had handy. The small size of this though, and the fact that it fits in this little bag like I talked about today, super handy and sort of allows me to look at the footage whenever I can. No more. Anyway, you don't want to really edit the footage on the iPad because it's such a small screen. But you know, that's really just how the iPad works for me. I also, like I said, I like using it on the couch and as a media device, but overall, I think I would purchase it more as a photography sidekick. Having that sort of justification for its skill set seems like a logical reason to me, I guess. I don't know. For other people though, I don't know. My mom is a big iPad mini fan. I know she's probably going to be getting this one. She likes to read on hers because it's more of like a traditional book size compared to the bigger iPads, and she just likes to browse the web and Facebook on hers. So I think anyone that's into that, well, for most people that are into that, I'd probably still recommend the like $429 base iPad, just because it's such a good value if you don't really need an Apple Pencil or a USB-C. But if you like small iPads, there's no denying this is a good one. Yeah, that's that. Anyway, if you have any questions about the iPad mini, you can reach out to me online anytime at @TheBradFat on Twitter, and make sure to follow @MobileSyrup for all kinds of other crazy tech news. Thanks for watching.